Hi, Jan here again, the pagan prepper, and this is Neil, my husband,
Hiya.
the pagan prepper's partner, who's also a pagan prepper. He was already a pagan, but he's a prepper because he's learned off me.
Married.
So unlike some people, you seem to be moving, you're heading out of shot there. Unlike some people who have challenges with their partners, Neil's always been 100% behind everything that I do, because I tell him to.
It's what works for us.
But anyway, I need to start right at the very beginning of this film by saying we are not medically trained. We're not advising anybody to do anything that we do. This is just what we do to keep ourselves healthy. And also, we're not being sponsored or paid by any of the companies that we may show products belonging to. But if they'd like to pay me, bring it on. But to me, prepping is about seeing yourself well and healthy into the future, and it doesn't matter how much food you've got put away in your cupboard. If your health's gone, then you're in big trouble. And part of being healthy is trying to keep a nutritious, balanced diet. I get that.
Absolutely.
And that's what I try to do in my cupboard is, I try to make sure that we've got food of high nutritious value.
Yeah.
But having said that, for me personally, I had part of my intestine removed in an operation years ago, and I was told by my surgeon that I will never get all the vitamins and minerals that I need just from food alone, and I was told that I have to supplement. And because I supplement, so does Neil. Because over the years I've found things for both of us that have actually made a dramatic difference to
Big difference, really
to
big
how
difference.
we are. So the first one that I started taking and then got Neil taking at the same time, this is just the brand that I'm using at the moment. I buy this one because you get a lot. It's 2000 milligram. It's got omega 3, 6 and 9. It's your good old fashioned flax oil. Before flax oil I used to take cod liver oil, but a warning here, if you take a cod liver oil capsule and then have a hot drink, it will melt the capsule fast and you'll be burping cod. Oh, it's absolutely disgusting. Don't do that.
Am I right that it's the liver that takes out all the toxins from the cod, and if they're in a bad fishing lane or something like that, surely that's not great either?
Yeah, but anyway, we switched from
Cod liver oil to flax.
over to flax oil, which has the omega 3, 6 and 9. And I started taking this when I was very arthritic, before I had my knees done. And then you started taking it, noticed the difference. I got my mum taking it, she noticed the difference. I think my sister started taking it. So we all take...
It affects my energy levels.
Yeah,
it helps really.
This one, which I just got on Amazon, again not sponsored, but from Amazon. I buy that one because it's 306. It's a whole year's supply.
Yeah.
Just in one bottle, so it's just easier to buy that one.
How much does that normally cost you?
I have no idea.
Look it up.
I really don't. I think it's probably a lot cheaper than the ones that I used to get.
Yeah, the little bottles. It's going to be much
Yeah.
cheaper than the little bottles, but
Because I tend to
I
go
just
for
thought I'd
bargains
ask
as
if
much
you
as
knew.
anything. So have the flax oil to start with. Then I found years ago I had some blood tests done, and I found that my vitamin D levels were so low that the doctor put me on a prescription vitamin D. And when I picked it up from the chemist, and you read the instructions of dosage and things, it meant that I was taking a whole month's dose 4 times a day.
wow.
That
That's
is
a
how
lot.
deficient
That's-
I
yeah.
was. And then he left me on that one for a month. That was it 20? Yeah, I think it was 20 international units.
Right.
So I was on like 80 a day then. And
Yeah.
when I ran out of those, he said I could just buy my own. And I found some 50 international units. So I went from 80 down to 50, and I was on that for as long. Then they stopped selling them in such high doses. And as my levels just built up, I don't need such a high dose anyway. And at the moment I'm taking 4,000 international units a day, and I get this one, which also, it's the D3 and K2. I don't know if you can read that in that light. D3 and K2, 4,000 international units of vitamin D, D3, and 100 international units of K2, and you have to have the vitamin K with the vitamin D, otherwise it leaches the calcium out of your bones.
Right.
But talking about bones, before I was on the vitamin D, I used to get a pain sort of halfway between my knee and my ankle, right in the bone at the front, and it was incredibly painful. Went to the doctor, said, "This hurts," and she said, "I don't know." I was about to have my knees replaced, so I went to see I was seeing my orthopaedic surgeon, and I said, "By the way, I've got this pain and it really hurts." And he said, "Haven't got a clue what it is." But when I started taking that high dose vitamin D,
Yeah.
it completely cleared up and never came back. Visiting a friend one time, she said, "I've got this pain halfway down my leg." I said, "Try taking vitamin D." She did. Pain went. So if you get a pain halfway down your leg, I've never found a doctor that's heard of this particular symptom, but through my own knowledge and, you know, seeing it working on somebody else, you know, either have your vitamin levels checked if you can at the doctor's, or just start taking vitamin D3. So, I mean, even Fauci during the Troubles was taking 6,000 units a day, while our government was saying it's not really going to make any difference. Well, why is he taking it then? But we were already on high dose vitamin D anyway.
Yeah.
And then during those Troubles, we learned that people who were supplementing vitamin D had less chance of being very, very ill with it, especially if they had higher levels of zinc. So we started taking the zinc as well, and these are again, I buy it because this is a 40 milligram, 400 in a bottle. That's probably why I buy it, because it's a big bottle, and it seems to be a different amount, a decent amount. So and it says it supports the immune system, which we all need, and helps to maintain normal skin, hair, nails and bones. So we started doing so we got the flaxseed, the zinc, the D3. I was told I have to take multivitamin and mineral anyway, so I just take that one because it's cheaper than the one that the...
Yeah, I don't take one of those.
No, you don't get these. But the brand that the surgeon recommended to me, this has pretty much the same stuff and it's cheaper.
Cool.
So I take those. And then we've both at different points been told that we've got low B vitamins, haven't we?
Yeah.
So we also take a B12 vitamin. And this one, if Neil's run out, I can tell by his energy levels that he's not got any of these. So that does make a difference. In fact, it does kind of boost your energy, we find.
In fact, that one makes a difference, but so does the flax. That if I run out of flax, that will run me out as well. And what was the other one?
D. You need
just D. Yeah,
vitamin D.
Just the D.
Yeah, we changed bottles. He can't find the bottle.
Yeah, no, it's B12. It's the D and the flax make a big difference.
He normally comes into my room. Have you got any of the little pink tablets? Right. So the B12 we take. That's 1,000 international units a day, and that comes in 400 tablets in the bottle. But like I say, I'm not trained in anything. This is just what works for us. So. Yeah. Do your own research. If you think that you might need something, then do your own research. Then also what we do is, I find the best way to stay healthy, especially during the winter times when everybody's got, you know, winter sicknesses and colds and flus and things like that, or any old pandemic that might come across, the best way to not get it is to avoid those people that are dripping colds and people that and all these people who, you know, you arrange to meet them. Oh, well, I've had a terrible cold, but I'm all right now. No, I'd rather wait until you're completely all right. You know, the amount of times that we've gone to things and there's somebody there who's literally dripping germs. You know, if they've still got runny eyes, runny nose, coughing, they're still contagious in my view.
Yeah, no, I agree.
And so I've avoided people like that. And even if it means not going to family occasions and things like that, it's a case of, I'm sorry, don't do it. I mean, when I was in hospital, when I had the stroke, you know, I'd just been very, very seriously disabled by a stroke. And my own sister came in and gave me the most horrendous cold. She travelled all the way from Cornwall to give it to me. She never did like me.
The present nobody wants, a cold.
Exactly,
Yeah.
But if we go out and we think that we've been around anyone like that, then when we come home, I'm a great advocate of colloidal silver. I have colloidal silver in these little bottles. They're nasal spray bottles I got from Amazon. I think they're glass bottle with a squirty lid. And I got 3.
You just squirt it and stick it up the nose.
Yeah,
and squirt.
just stick it up your nose and just... I think that one's empty at the moment. But I just fill that with colloidal silver. So if we've been out, think we've been... Or sometimes if we've just been in, you know, somewhere where there's loads of people, back in the days of the pandemic, if we thought that we'd been in an area where people may have had it, we'd come home, good squirt up the nose with colloidal silver.
Now, anyone who... I mean, have you mentioned colloidal silver on your channel before? Do people know what colloidal silver is and why you should use it?
No, I haven't mentioned it because this is the first time that I've done a video about health type things.
Cool.
And I use it. It's nature's own. Well, it's not nature's own. You've got to make it. But silver combats bacteria and. Sorry, it's completely thrown my mind with these. I didn't know he was going to ask that, so I haven't got an answer prepared. But do your own research about the colloidal silver. But I use it both in treatment of, if we're ill, we take colloidal silver. You can use it in wound care. They now impregnate bandages with silver because it helps to keep infection down. So, sorry, it's completely blown my train of thought. So, if we think that we've been in contact with anyone, or if we have any sign ourselves of being coldy or flu-like symptoms, then any cold or flu-type symptoms, then we start dosing with a spoonful of colloidal silver. 2, these are vitamin C tablets, 1,000 milligrams. So we take 2 of those, a spoonful of that, every 4 hours. And that, I did say they're vitamin C, didn't I?
Yes.
If we become symptomatic with cold germ type thing, and never use cough medicine anymore, research has shown that honey is as effective as commercial cough medicines, and it's a more natural product. So
yeah, it's nicer tasting as well.
And you can have, as long as you're not diabetic, you can have as much as you need.
Yeah.
You know, I use the set one. That's I just get that in Sainsbury's, but I'm not sure if that, it is organic. That is an organic one.
I remember as a kid having hot orange and honey, having hot orange juice with the vitamin C and honey.
Yeah. Well, the old remedies are often the best, but so if we are symptomatic, then we have honey for coughs, the vitamin C, the colloidal silver, and a Beecham's, Lemsip. Now, I had these in my drawer. These are the branded version. Couldn't get the blackcurrant one at the shop, so I bought the Sainsbury's own maximum strength cold and flu relief. This one in Sainsbury's today is £4.75. Can't remember how much these were. They were £2 something or other.
Yeah.
But when I looked on the ingredients earlier, they are exactly the same ingredients in exactly the same quantities.
Excellent.
And, you know, they both do. It was just as they had the lemon one, but they didn't have the blackcurrant. I like the blackcurrant.
Yeah.
So every 4 hours, one of those with the vitamin C and the colloidal silver. And these days, if I have a cold that goes into its second day, I class that as a bad cold. I've had colds that have been over and done within a matter of 8 hours on that regime. You know, that's what works for me. And if I think that he might be at all, because with me it's a case of I've got to be healthy. So if you're ill, you're going to do whatever you have to do.
Basically, I'm told what to do with my meds and the vitamins, and it works.
In the old days, you know, the old-fashioned ways I still think are often the best. We'd fill a bowl up with boiling water, and then we'd lean over the bowl for the steam, put a towel over our heads. But at the beginning of the lurgy, I got 2 of these, but then when my daughter got the lurgy, I gave her one of them because I'd seen a video of a chap. I have just realised I didn't put the timer on, so I've got no idea how long I've been talking. If this video suddenly ends, then look out for a part 2. Sorry, I still can't edit. But as I was saying, at the beginning of the lurgy, there was a chap who'd caught it on that cruise liner, and then they were taken ashore in Japan. And he'd been talking about how what he did to recover from it, and he was talking about the Wim Hof breathing method. Yep. But he also said because his wife had packed one of these, that made a huge amount of difference. So you don't need to buy one of these, and we've not actually used it, it's still brand new, but if you do have cold or flu or anything like that, you can put the colloidal silver in with the water it stinks of plastic, but you can put that in to infuse it. Or Neil,
I use this every single night.
Olbasoil, because he's got
I've got a narrowing of the nose here, and it's hard to breathe at night, so a little bit of Olbasoil just under my nose, and it just helps clear and open the airways up nicely. We're about 16 minutes in, by the way.
Okay, so that's what we do as a general thing, just to try and keep ourselves healthy. You know, we supplement our vitamins and things. We avoid people who are sick
as much as possible. It's not always possible, but
although, having said that, with my children, and when I was a child, did the complete opposite. With childhood illnesses in the old days, if other kids had measles or mumps or chicken pox, you would take your children round there and try and get them to catch it as well, because once they've caught it and they build up their own natural immunity to it, and that's how it always was. And even nowadays, I strongly believe that an immune system that's never challenged is a weak immune system. So whilst I say I avoid colds and flus, I don't go around anti-backing everything in the house. As long as the house is clean, I don't think there's any need to go around trying to kill all the bacteria, you know, especially when there's viruses around.
Well, you know, in the summer when we go to the car boot sales, we're mingling with a lot of people, so I think it's going to be challenged at that point.
Yeah, just being with other people. Excuse me, I've got to. That's something else I need to say, is that I also never use paper hankies, because paper's made from trees, and when you're wiping your nose on a bit of tree, it's going to get sore. I always use cloth. I use just cloth handkerchiefs, you know, cotton, and I'm always wiping my nose because I have a tear in the dura that covers the brain, so I'm continuously leaking brain fluid. Sorry, that's something you didn't need to know. But if you ever see me with a dewdrop, it's just another thought escaping. I don't know what that was, but yeah, so anyway, that's kind of that. Another thing, because I've got these bits over here that I used to make for our yellow Labrador when he was alive. He had arthritis, so I used to make what's called golden paste out of turmeric, black pepper and coconut oil, and that helped him quite a lot, didn't it? And yeah. Fortunately he also loved the taste. And I also give the dogs coconut oil. I just put a spoonful on their food sometimes, just to keep their coats nice and bright and shiny. But as I've said in another video in the past, Neil has Hashimoto's, autoimmune disease. It's a disease of the thyroid, and that does affect his ability to think sometimes. So he has moments of
foggy thinking or cloud or not,
cloudy thoughts.
Not able to think well or fast enough or that. So,
and when he's like that, I give him the coconut oil. And if you Google coconut oil Alzheimer's clock, you will see a video of a lady who whose husband had dementia, and when you have dementia, one of the things they do to diagnose it is tell you to draw a clock. And well, if you watch the video, you'll see, and then you'll see the improvement in his clock on the before the coconut oil to after the coconut oil. It's all to do with the fat getting into the brain and helping the brain, but it certainly helps Neil.
My preferred method of taking it is to make a cup of coffee, just get a teaspoonful of the oil, because it comes out in a white solid lump. Pop it in the hot coffee, it dissolves on the top, and just drink it down through the coffee. And that's my preferred way. If I'm really desperate and I haven't got time for a coffee, a teaspoonful of the oil straight in the mouth. It works, but it's not as nice as with the coffee.
Right, and while we were talking about the dogs, I also want to go on and mention that the yellow Labrador that I was talking about was plagued his entire life by ear problems, and we spent goodness knows how much money going to the vet repeatedly, seeing over the course of his lifetime loads of different vets, having loads and loads of different treatments, and that poor dog really suffered with his ears. And I did everything that I could to try and get him better.
Yeah.
And then one day I saw a video by a vet on YouTube who said green tea bags. I've just pulled out the whole thing there. They're just in a jar, but they're just Sainsbury's green tea blend. Just make it up with water, and then I was cleaning his ear out with the green tea, just kind of blood temperature, so it's not too cold or too hot for him. And then going around the outside of the ear with Caniston, just over the counter Caniston. And I'd also watched some groomers cleaning out dogs' ears, so I'd learned about using hemostat, which are basically blunt end tweezers. So you can kind of use those to get into all the crevices and things. But once I started doing that with him, I think I only ever did it 2 or 3 times, and it miraculously cleaned up this problem that he had, and he spent the last year of his life suffering from it.
I've been doing it daily, trying to clean his ears, because he was always trying to rub his ear and whatever.
Yeah, on vet instructions.
Yeah, on vet instructions.
We'd followed, the vet's instructions to the letter. Every time we went to the vet and they said do this, we would do exactly that. But taking matters into our own hands, it was all sorted out. But I've got my other tea bags out, because when Darcy, my chocolate Labrador, who's passed away now, when she was a puppy, the first time I took her to the vet, it's the first time we'd seen that vet. That was Moira, the most wonderful vet in the world, but unfortunately she's passed away now. But she saw Darcy and she said, oh, she's got conjunctivitis. And I thought, oh, here we go, this is going to start costing me money. And she said, the best thing for that, Builder's tea, just ordinary black tea, make it really strong, no milk, no sugar, and it's the tannin in the tea, kind of dribble it into the eyes, and it cleared it up straight away. And more recently, I told my friend whose cat had that problem, and I said, well, try that. Ruth, hi, if you're listening. And she did it with her cat, because she was saying, oh, it's going to be another trip to the vet. And I said, well, do this first. It's not going to do any harm.
Yeah.
And so, ears and eyes, black tea and green tea. So, Neil, can you tell me how many?
We have 24 minutes, sorry.
Okay, well, that's probably a good time to stop for now, because there are other things that I want to talk about, but it's possibly going to go over. Yeah, I'll stop this one now, but look out for the other video and we'll carry on about it. But thank you very, very much for watching. Okay, take care, lots of love. Bye.
Bye.